everybody. Welcome to Talking Heartland. This is a show where we are looking back at the past seasons of Heartland. And today we are doing season 6, episodes 10 through 12. Some really good episodes. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner. Michelle's here.
Everyone.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well.
You have an exciting addition to your family this
Yeah,
week.
I got a new puppy. Yeah, I've got a new puppy, Chance. He's not here this week, but I'm sure in future episodes he will be. He sort of found his bark today, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely hear him in future episodes. But I thought maybe the first one will sort of get him out of earshot.
Oh, that's good. Well, congratulations. That'll be very exciting. We're a puppy friendly podcast, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I thought these were really pretty strong episodes, these 3. And I think you could probably tell this was a mid-season premiere, is my guess, because I thought especially this first one was really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, this must have been like the first episode back.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's called The Road Ahead, and the summary is Amy and Ty hold off telling the family their great news when they return from their trip to find everyone reeling from the devastating fire at Lou and Peter's home. Meanwhile, Jack gets another visit from Clint to learn whether he's been officially approved or denied as Georgie's legal foster parent. Traumatized by the fire, Phoenix won't go anywhere near Georgie, and Amy must find a way to restore their special bond. And in the aftermath of losing their dream home, Lou and Peter make a surprising decision that provides new hope for the future. So, overall, what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really strong episode. It sort of hit all of the emotional points for me. Really, all of these episodes did.
Mhm.
Some stuff sort of didn't make much sense. I was kind of frustrated with the Lisa and Jack stuff, just because after Lou and after Ty and Amy, they're sort of my favorite couple. So it was
Mhm.
kind of a little frustrating, um, for it to sort of go the way that it did. But yeah, overall, really liked this episode.
Yeah.
And again, like the Peter stuff was a little confusing, but yeah, overall, yeah, good episode.
Mhm. Yeah, it didn't have any Mallory. That'd be maybe the only thing I would have changed.
I've definitely sort of scaled back with Mallory this season, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, probably because was getting older, and
Yeah.
but I I really enjoy her. So yeah. Um. So it starts out with the fire at the Hanley place. That is obviously upsetting, and that must have been uh quite a set piece for them for this little show to have the big fire sequence.
Yeah, they did really well. I feel like they've had a few kind of things like this where they have sort of minimal sort of resources and they really make the most of it. They make it feel so much bigger than what it probably is.
Yeah. Yeah. And uh, they did such a good job with Phoenix in this episode. I mean, it really felt like it was kind of shocking the way that he was acting. I don't know how they get the
Yeah,
horses to do that. It's just incredible.
yeah, definitely. Even when he was sort of Peter was sort of wrestling with him and trying to get him out. Um, really felt like that was something that was happening, and not I guess like horse acting.
Yeah, I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how they get the horses to do that and not have it actually be traumatizing, but because obviously they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I really thought that it was very emotionally effective when Phoenix does eventually go to Georgie,
Mhm.
and especially after what she says about her brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
'cause that
Yeah.
was
They've
pretty
definitely.
cruel.
It feels like in such a short space of time they've really built a bond between George and Phoenix in the same way that Amy has with Spartan.
Hmm.
I feel they've handled that really well.
Yeah, yeah, and like Amy and Spartan, it's been more of like a slow burn,
Mhm.
kind of a thing, but with this, it's been more like more intense, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very effective. Definitely made me tear up. And especially when Lou says, I felt like I was watching Amy
Yeah.
when she sees Georgie. That was really good.
Mhm.
And then we find out that the fire was caused by the wiring that in the work on the house. And so Lou is very, very upset. Peter is upset, but not as upset as Lou, and that bothers Lou.
Mhm.
And she was more invested in the house than he was.
Mm.
I think that Peter's more of the type that's just like, what's the point of like making a big fuss and getting emotional? Like it's happened, it's happened. There's nothing we can do about it. So I think that's more his personality, whereas Lou is just more open, with those emotions. I don't know. What did you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, it was a little frustrating in terms of like there's so many problems with them. Um, and by
Yeah.
the end of the episodes, you're sort of rooting for them in a way that, they're really building up their family. And it's just really concerning because they have so many issues that sort of get sort of swept aside in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Lou and Peter is they didn't do a good job building up the couple initially.
Mhm.
So you just don't have that good chemistry between them. It doesn't feel like they're really in love with each other that much,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah. He's so sort of in and out. Um, and so when he comes in, we sort of get these sort of romantic scenes, but there's no in between. He's either leaving or he's coming back.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, some of
Like,
his best moments are, scenes with him and Jack, or where he's just, in his kind of casual clothes at Heartland. But when he's in sort of businessman mode or he's sort of in and out, it's just really hard to, you know, be attached to him or, really root for him.
yeah, there's just not the chemistry between them. You're just
Yeah,
not feeling it for them as a couple. Like you want them to succeed because we like Lou and we want her to be happy.
yeah.
But as far as them as a couple, we just never I've never felt that invested in them.
No, no, not at all. And it's frustrating because it seems to be Lou's main relationship in the show. It doesn't seem like she's going to be having another love interest sort of anytime soon. It feels like they're in it for the long haul.
Mhm.
And it's just so frustrating because you want to sort of see the development that Amy and Ty got, or even like Jackie and Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa's
Or
sort
even
of
her
there.
and Scott. Like it doesn't make sense. She had such good chemistry with Scott. Why did they do that? I don't understand.
It'll never make sense to me. They had so much chemistry. There's so
Yeah.
much history written into the show. And my only feeling is that maybe it was very sort of similar to Amy and Ty, because Scott sort of had the same sort of similar backstory to Ty. But even at that, like sometimes you just have to go with chemistry. Like it's so
Yeah.
frustrating when you watch a show and they force things and you're like, there's so much chemistry with another character, or probably one of the most famous ones I can think of is maybe Arrow, where like the comic book canon, which was Green Arrow and Black Canary, that was the way they were going. That's they're like the Lois and Clark of those comics, and it just didn't work on the show. But there was
Mm.
another character there that the chemistry, she was brought in for 2 episodes, and the chemistry was so good and the fans responded to it so well that the whole trajectory of the show changed to make that relationship work. And it's one of my biggest bugbears in shows where they're so sort of stick to their guns of like, this
Yeah.
is what we're doing, even if it's just not coming across.
Right. Yeah. The actor who plays Scott, by the way, was in the this last weekend's Hallmark movie.
Was he? I haven't seen
The
that. I'm
baker's son. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
behind on the Hallmark movies. But they've not actually been showing them as much in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be we would get a premiere on Sunday or Saturday, mainly a Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. and we've just not been getting anything.
Oh,
I
darn.
don't, yeah, I don't know what's happening, so I need to sort of look at other options. I know I had
Yeah.
the sort of the friendly TV app over Christmas. I maybe have to try and do that again
Yeah.
because yeah, just not
And
getting
he's
them.
just a small role, but it was a bonkers movie called The Baker's Son. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very, very strange, but
yeah,
but I enjoyed it. So Clint comes back and says that Jack has been rejected as the guardian, and that seems really surprising given his history as a foster parent. I don't know, it just seems weird to me. But evidently he's too old for Georgie.
it feels
And so he's devastated. She's devastated. It's just very sad.
yeah. I can sort of see the point in terms of like why it was okay with Ty because he was almost an adult at that point, but yeah, it feels quite sort of ridiculous that a man who's active as Jack, as accomplished as Jack, is not even considered.
Yeah. This seems crazy because I mean, how old do you think are we talking Jack is right now?
Yeah, I would say late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Which I mean, so Georgie is 11, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So she has 7 years left of
yeah,
childhood.
hmm,
And I mean, he's gonna, I mean, barring some kind of uh, disaster, he's gonna be fine. Like he's definitely gonna make it to 80, I think. And if he were to for some reason have some kind of health challenge, it's not like he's not adopting her. Like you could make other arrangements if something happened.
yeah. And especially when you look at, Jack's living situation, he has so many people around him.
Yeah,
Amy's really sort of stepping up as one of George's main caregivers.
yeah,
So yeah, I suppose they can't really, it has to be down to sort of the one person, but I think you can sort of take a step back and look at the situation and see that,
right.
this family has a great, of,
Yeah,
you know,
because I mean, there are a lot because there's Lou and Peter, there's Tim is, available. I mean, and I guess all of those people were kind of a disaster on the investigation day,
yeah,
but because yeah, then Ty and Amy, but I mean, that's 5 people, just those people plus other people.
yeah, and you've got to consider that
Lisa,
Jack was probably there as, Amy's mum was taking on people as well. He's
yeah,
sort of witnessed it as well. So yeah,
right,
it's
yeah.
very strange.
So the insurance is going to cover the fire damage. So that's good that they were insured. And they're still, Lou is still upset because, it's her dream house.
Hmm.
And, and so then, yeah, we find out about Georgie's brother, and that's very sad. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that somebody in the system and everything like that would be more, I mean, at least like talk on the phone. I mean,
yeah,
what's the harm in that? But
yeah,
yeah, uh doesn't want the relationship or to take care of her. And Tim says the family's falling apart, and that's when Ty tells him about proposing. And we get another scene with Lisa talking about going to France, and she says it would be nice to see your face at my door. And I mean, how much time do you think Lisa is spending in France? Like this is like she seems to be
yeah,
there a lot.
yeah, yeah. I felt like I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't watch ahead, so I have no idea, but it felt like we were saying goodbye to Lisa for a while. So I don't know if maybe she was
Mhm.
going into like another project or another show or another, thing that was going to keep her busy. I have no idea if and when she'll pop back up, but
Mhm.
yeah, it felt like we were sort of saying goodbye to her for a while, and that felt really frustrating because the last we heard, Dan was sort of spreading these rumors that they were back together, and she sort of clears that up, and then she's leaving, and it just felt very unfair to her. And it also doesn't really make sense in terms of like her business. Is she like retiring her business because she owns like a really you know
Yeah.
big ranch, but they do a lot of things at racing and all sorts. So yeah, it's sort of we didn't see like Val taking off to go to different places. She was very much involved in her ranch, and yeah, it feels like she's maybe
Yeah.
spending half the time in France at this point.
I mean, I guess at least it makes sense why it is such an issue because it was just a vacation. Like,
Yeah, it
I
wouldn't be a
mean,
problem.
what's the big deal for Jack to just go on a couple, vacations? But it seems like she's actually like living there, which
Yeah,
is more of a problem since Jack hates it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Maybe our business is sort of set up to a point where it sort of runs itself, and she can just sort of manage it from wherever she is,
mhm,
which is fair
right.
enough. But frustrating.
So yeah, so Lou and Peter decides to become foster parents for Georgie, and she can stay. And then Amy and Ty make their announcement, and everybody's excited. And I don't know, I really liked this episode. I wrote peak Heartland because
Yeah.
I felt like it was emotional.
Mhm.
It had every character except for Mallory,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I really liked it. So I would give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll go with 9 as well.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
From the author of Miracles and Menorahs comes a story about history, responsibility for it, and how true love can change the future.
History of Us is the second book in Stacey Agdern's Friendship and Festivals series.
Available on June 24th from Thule Publishing and wherever books are sold.
For more information about Stacey, visit her website at www.staceyagdern.com.
That's staceyagdern.com.
All right, well, let's talk about episode 11. This is called Blowing Smoke. This episode has Jeremy forces Amy to make a tough decision about Phoenix when his horse Buckingham sustains a serious injury that threatens his jumping career. So, what did you think overall of this episode? What do you think about Jeremy?
Oh, it's so frustrating. He just feels like he's there to hate, and the actor does a good job. Um, yeah, I felt really bad for Mallory in this episode. Yeah, this was I liked everything sort of apart from the Jeremy stuff.
Mhm.
But I suppose we're supposed to not like the Jeremy stuff, so I guess it worked.
Yeah, I mean, he is pretty charismatic as an actor, and I
Yeah.
do think
Mhm.
I could see why Mallard would be super crushing on him. I
Yeah.
think he's very attractive.
Yeah, he's sort of got that, CW actor look about him.
Yeah, he does. It's true. Very true. So Mallory's getting ready for working with Jeremy, and uh, the Jeremy's horse has, been having issues the last couple of episodes, and he starts out, he's kind of being ridiculous, and he's blaming Ty and the drugs for the problem with Buckingham, his
Mhm.
horse. And uh, the basically he has to decide there's surgery that he can give to Buckingham that'll give him like another year
Mhm.
of racing, but it's also pretty risky.
Yeah.
And so then he sees Phoenix jump over the fence, and he decides that he wants to try to get Phoenix. And Georgie's upset about that because it's Phoenix is her horse. And Yeah. What did you think about this whole plot with Jeremy and Phoenix?
It was awful, but I thought it was really well written.
Mm.
The idea of, they do this surgery and it's, what I got from it was that it sort of shortens his lifespan, um, because, he's going to come back with an even worse injury and, when this surgery wears off, or he can retire him and let him live a happy life. Um, and it really put Amy in such a difficult position. And I feel like in this show, like, Amy's our main protagonist. And she always, so not always, but it feels like she always wins. She always saves the day. She always saves the animal.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is a really good way to sort of put Amy in a position of you can't save you want to save every animal, but you can't. And the idea that she would sort of break that bond between Phoenix and Georgie in a way to save this animal, I thought it was really, really well handled and really well written.
Yeah. And even Jack even says that to her, like, I admire the way
Mhm.
that you try, but you can't save every animal.
Yeah, it's a really hard lesson for somebody to learn that works with animals.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's one of the reasons I don't think I could. I love animals, but I don't think I could sort of work in any sort of animal field because that is such a harsh lesson to learn.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be really hard, especially once you've gotten attached.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah, speaking of Amy, we have some drama going on with her, with Ty starting his schooling, and there's a group uh, that of these other students that he's friends with, and so Cassandra is in that group, I guess.
yeah. I think she's maybe a year ahead, or she's a little bit ahead, because she was sort of helping Ty with stuff that she'd already done. So I'm not sure if she's sort of in the same classes, but yeah, she's definitely a vet student.
Yeah, and so she starts to be interested in Jeremy, which of course is upsetting to Mallory.
Hmm.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, Amy is jealous of Ty and his friends, and particularly very, very skeptical of Cassandra.
Hmm.
Do you think that she has right to be to suspect her, or is she just being too sensitive?
I don't think she's, there's much evidence there in terms of suspecting her of being interested in Ty, or I definitely when she sort of had to go at Cassandra for being all for this surgery and never having much experience with horses. I felt like Amy was perfectly justified in that opinion. Maybe not the way she said it or the way she's sort of put it across,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I definitely see that they're in terms of like their outlook on life, in terms of like animals and things. I can definitely see why they would clash, but in terms of like you know Ty and her's friendship, that's something that Amy's just going to have to deal with, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Jeremy spikes Amy's drink and
Yeah, yeah.
gets her kind of tipsy. He's trying to get her to agree to let him take Phoenix, I guess. And I would think, I mean, I don't drink alcohol. I've never drank an alcohol, but wouldn't you taste it a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't drink either. And the reason I don't drink is because I hate the taste. I don't like the taste of any alcohol. Like it
Yeah.
blows my mind when I'm out with my friends and I see them drinking and I'm like, it's just like I've tried vodka. It's disgusting. You would definitely
Uh-huh.
be able to tell if you were drinking vodka.
Yeah, I mean,
um,
I know that some of those cocktails and stuff like hide it fairly well, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
have to be
Something like
careful.
something like a cocktail definitely hides it very well. But that's different
But
alcohol. Vodka, straight
yeah,
vodka, just in like a normal
that
juice. Definitely, you do taste it.
yeah, this wasn't even a cocktail. It was just soda and straight vodka.
Yeah, yeah. And I also feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like if it was a show, if this was, it feels like they got away with a lot, back in season 6. I feel like
Mhm.
this storyline would have been dealt with a lot different these days.
Yeah, I think so. Because the whole consent idea, and obviously
Uh-huh.
this isn't like sexual, but still it's like a little awkward.
Yeah.
I agree. And so uh and Amy is pretty flirty with Ty, I should say, and she's a little bit sloshed, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And especially when
But
Jack finds them, that made me
yeah.
laugh.
Yeah, I thought Amber Marshall was pretty good in terms of like playing drunk. It's such a
Yeah,
hard thing to do.
yeah, I think she did a good job. Because she was just tipsy enough to like, but not like overboard.
Yeah.
But my other thing I thought was a total win was the whole storyline with Georgie building the chuck wagon. It was
Yeah,
so
that was
cute.
great. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
so good. It was such a good like Lou moment.
Mhm. You're
It was
good.
such a good like we've definitely seen this part of Lou before. When she sort of embraces, you know, being, on a ranch and getting her hands dirty. Um,
Mhm.
it was such a great. I wish they would do it more. 'Cause I feel like Michelle Monaghan's really really good at that stuff.
Yeah, it was cute with her putting on the wheels and everything, and then also her getting the dress for Georgie for the baby shower that they were going to, and it was also cute. The bond between Caleb and Georgie was cute,
Yeah,
and uh, that worked really well. Just the whole thing, and when they finally hook it up uh, to the ATV and everything, and she's just smiling. It was
yeah,
really good.
yeah. It was really
So we also get a conflict between Caleb and Peter, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel. It feels weird. It feels awkward.
yeah. I feel like I would absolutely buy Caleb having like feelings for Lou or having a crush on Lou had we had some sort of build up apart from that like one hug that we got sort of
Yeah.
out of nowhere. I definitely feel like there was a storyline there in terms of like him having feelings for her. But yeah, they would have had to have, put a bit more sort of build up to it.
hmm Yeah. And so Caleb punches Peter. He's very upset, and I don't know. It didn't have quite the drama I think that they expected on that one,
Yeah, I don't know
but
if it's like that they're trying to say that Caleb has feelings for Lou, or if this is like him watching sort of someone not try a marriage, where,
yeah,
well, in his opinion, not try a marriage, whereas he did and it didn't work. I
I
don't know
think
if that's what they're trying to do.
probably a little of both,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
yeah, I think that that's part of it too, and just frustrating because I think we're all frustrated at Peter
Yeah,
because this is just not how it works,
yeah,
a relationship, and so I don't know. I think that that was a lot of people probably want to suck it to Peter in a way.
yeah, yeah. At least we got to see Peter get punched.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, this episode was pretty fun. I liked it. I'd give it like an 8. What about you?
Yeah, yeah, 8.5, I'll say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next episode is called Playing with Fire. And this episode has the let me pull up the summary. When a local horse show is canceled, Lou saves the day for Georgie and Mallory by stepping up to host it at Heartland. Amy trains Georgie to take on an entitled little brat from school named Olivia, while Mallory's not so secret crush on her coach Jeremy heightens. Meanwhile, Peter pressures Lou to fire Caleb as Ty tries to convince Caleb to apologize for the punch, and Jack grooms his lawn to perfection just in time to have it turned into the parking lot for the horse show. But just when everything is going smoothly, tragedy strikes. So yeah, it starts out with Amy jumping Spartan,
Mhm.
and Amy is trying to train Georgie, and saying doing things right takes time. And then Georgie jumps over the fence, and Amy's really mad about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of was on Amy's side in this episode. Like, if Georgie wants to compete, then she's going to have to learn all the elements of show jumping. It's not just getting your horse over the jumps. It's like presentation and posture, and like it's a judge sport. Like you sort of have to have all of the elements. So yeah, I was sort of with Amy on this. Like, it's so frustrating.
It's true. And it's really, especially when you're 11, like it's so
Yeah,
hard to be
yeah,
patient
yeah,
like that.
yeah, definitely. Especially when you're so sort of like fearless in the way that Georgie is. She's so sort of like 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mallory totally has the crush on Jeremy, and he's totally oblivious to the fact that she has a crush on him. But he still wants to train her, even after they're and then Caleb has to set things right with Peter. Ty talks to him and says, because I mean he works at Heartland, so he's got to make it right. Meanwhile, Jack doesn't know anything about it and is just like, why is Caleb not showing up for work? And he's out there aerating his lawn, which I thought was funny.
Yeah,
And if he
the
was a
Jackson.
lawn.
That's so funny. Oh god.
Yeah. And so then Jack and Peter are aerating the lawn, and Jack tells him after the fight with Lou, says, I think you'd be better off aerating the lawn with me for a
Yeah,
little while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jack's so
Yeah.
good at like not getting involved in things like that. He's so good at like just taking a step back.
Yeah. And so then Jeremy and Amy kind of make up,
hmm
and he apologizes for basically trying to roofie her. Like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, jeez.
And we find out that Mallory needs a mantra.
hmm
So that's kind of a fun the element to this one. And Mallory thinks that doing the show with Jeremy will take them to the next level. So she's pretty confident. And how old do you think Jeremy is supposed to be?
Like 18,
Okay.
17, 18, yeah.
So not that
Doesn't
different in age than
Not
Mallory.
that different in age. I think maybe a couple of years, but he definitely seems like he's not in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there's this horse competition at Hillhurst. They're all getting pretty excited about. And but then it gets canceled. And Lou says, we can put on our own show. And that all comes together very quickly. It was
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
yeah, in a span of hours, like
Yeah.
full
They even had
competition.
they even had the banner and everything. I'm like, that's
I
pretty
feel like
good.
there's probably some like legal stuff they would have to like sort out before they can just like put
Yeah,
on an event.
that's true. Yeah, because you need insurance and all kinds of stuff to put on an event like that. And so that's true. I did like all of the sports mantras that they were they were doing.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
funny to me.
so cute.
And So yeah, there's the mean girls of the um competition with Olivia. They're pretty rude about Georgie. How dare she have foster parents?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Typical like mean girl stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
like the Lou stuff was so funny. Like she was so gung ho about Georgie taking part in that competition after she saw these girls be mean to her. It was so
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah, that was really cute. uh, I like the ace in your face.
Yeah,
That's funny. And she ends up when she's entering the race, her mantra becomes keep calm and carry on,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I don't know where she heard that, but they're going British on us all of a sudden.
yeah. I think didn't she say her mum? That was her one from her mum.
Oh,
I'm not
did
sure.
she?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that was. But I did like
Maybe
that they
so.
sort of brought up, Amy's mum, that she was actually pretty competitive too, because Amy is
Hmm.
sort of really in coach mode in this season.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, the Marion was very competitive.
Uh,
That was good. And uh and she ends up I liked that Georgie did knock a rail down. Like
uh,
it wasn't like perfect like they do with Amy. It seems like every competition she ever does, she's always the best at everything.
yeah, yeah. I liked it was sort of seeing Georgie from, the ground up in terms of like, I feel like this is just going to be her thing, the show jumping for a while.
Hmm.
And I like that, she has to learn that she has to learn all elements of this sport in terms of, not just one. Um, and yeah, I feel like she definitely got that message, and I like that she accepted it as well. She wasn't mad that she got second place.
Yeah, I did too. I like that too. And I uh I liked the whole dinner scene that they had with them. It was just like, I'm a mulch man myself. Jack.
uh,
And um then you have Caleb talking to Peter and then to Lou, and uh then uh you have a fight between Peter and Lou, and then finally Caleb says to Peter, he says, "Pop me one," and so Peter punches Caleb,
yeah,
which was kind of funny. And then you have Mallory seeing Cassandra and Jeremy kissing, and so
oh
she's
god,
pretty upset about that.
poor Mallory. Like she's
Yeah.
had no luck whatsoever with these boys. They've all been pretty awful, apart from Jake.
Yeah. And so then Mallory is jumping with Spartan, and there's True Hearts Can't Be Broken, the
Hmm.
thing, and then Spartan collapses
Yeah, that was
around.
like haunting at the end of that
Yeah.
episode. I was like, oh my god. It's one of those times where I've had to like stop myself because Netflix is like, I don't know, it feels like it's 5 seconds before the next episode starting and you're like, should I
Right.
just keep watching? I was like, no.
I know, me too. I was like, this was the same way with the fire, because
Yeah,
that cliffhanger.
a good
Yeah, I mean,
cliffhanger.
again, they do such a good job with making all the horse stuff so believable.
It was like the sound was so like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is bad. This is really bad.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, this was another pretty entertaining episode. So I'd give this one an 8.5.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Very good. Well, let us know if you're listening what you think of these 3 episodes. Did you enjoy them as much as we did? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section or on Twitter. And Michelle, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Michelle R. Benson.
Great. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And also make sure you're following the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group and merch store, and that has Heartland inspired merch. So check that out. And thanks so much, Michelle. We appreciate it. And we will talk again next week. Bye, everyone.
Fun.